Shalom, shalom, everyone, and welcome to 50 Days of Empowerment. Today is day 38 as we count the days to Shavuot, and today we're going to be talking about how the believer has become the new dwelling place of Elohim. In a previous video, we talked about the fact that when Yeshua died on the tree, the veil that was in the dwelling place in Jerusalem was torn in two from top to bottom. Now, this is very important because it signifies that Yah was moving out of the dwelling place made with hands and moving into believers. Yeshua spoke about this in John chapter 14, beginning with verse 15. It says, "If you love me, you shall guard my commands, and I shall ask the Father, and he shall give you another helper to stay with you forever, the Spirit of the truth, which the world is unable to receive because it does not see it or know it, but you know it, for it stays with you and shall be in you." And so Yeshua is speaking to his taught ones, and he is saying there's coming a time when the Spirit of Elohim is going to dwell in you. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, beginning with verse 19, Shaul states, "Or do you not know that your body is the dwelling place of the set-apart Spirit which is in you, which you have from Elohim, and you are not your own, for you are bought with a price? Therefore esteem Elohim in your body and in your spirit, which are of Elohim." And so Shaul is asking the question to believers, don't you know that your body has now become the new dwelling place of the set-apart Spirit which is in you? And then we see in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16, Shaul writes, "Do you not know that you are a dwelling place of Elohim and that the Spirit of Elohim dwells in you?" And so this is something that every believer needs to know, that Yah has moved out of the dwelling place in Jerusalem. There is no more dwelling place there on Temple Mount in Jerusalem, but he has moved into believers, those who have believed upon Yeshua with a belief that produces obedience. They are filled with the Spirit of Yah, and they become the new dwelling place of Elohim. Romans chapter 8, beginning with verse 9 says, "But you are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit, if indeed the Spirit of Elohim dwells in you." This is Shaul speaking to believers. "And if anyone does not have the Spirit of Messiah, this one is not his. And if Messiah is in you," implying through belief in the deposit of the set-apart Spirit of Yah, "the body is truly dead on account of sin, but the Spirit is life on account of righteousness. And if the Spirit of him who raised Yeshua from the dead dwells in you, he who raised Messiah from the dead shall also give life to your mortal bodies through his Spirit dwelling in you." So we see verse after verse after verse speaking of the fact that believers have become the new dwelling place of Elohim. And then 2 Corinthians chapter 6, beginning with verse 14, it says this, "Do not become unevenly yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness and lawlessness?" Well, there is no partnership between righteousness and lawlessness. Righteousness is obedience to the Torah. Lawlessness is disobedience to the Torah. "And what fellowship has light with darkness?" There is none. "And what agreement has Messiah with Belial? Or what part does a believer have with an unbeliever? And what union has the dwelling place of Elohim with idols?" Well, you are the dwelling place. Your body is the new dwelling place of Elohim. So what union do you have with idols or idol worship? Well, you don't have any. "For you are a dwelling place of the living Elohim. As Elohim has said, I shall dwell in them and walk among them, and I shall be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. Therefore, come out from among them and be separate, says Yah." He's saying, come out from among the lifestyles and the actions and the lawless deeds of unbelievers. He goes on to say, "Do not touch what is unclean, and I shall receive you." Do not touch their lawless actions, what they do, their unrighteous lifestyles. Don't touch any of those things. Come out from among them and don't touch what they do. Verse 18, and I shall be a father to you, and you shall be sons and daughters to me, says Yah, the Almighty. And so because we are the new dwelling place of Elohim, then we're not to engage in the lawless actions and activities of unbelievers. Now, what Shaul is not saying here is that we are to have no interaction with unbelievers, that we're not to engage with them at all. That's not what he's saying. He's saying don't touch what they do. Don't engage in the same lawless behavior. But we have to interact with unbelievers. We have to engage with them because we have a charge from our master Yeshua to go into all the world and proclaim the good news to every creature. We're to share the good news with those who have not believed yet. But Shimon Kepha tells us something really important in Acts chapter 10, verse 28, the second half. It says this, but Elohim has shown me that I should not call any man common or unclean. And so when we look at men, at people, we're not to consider them common or unclean. We're not to consider them untouchable. We are to engage with unbelievers. We are to interact with them. We are to develop influence with them and have a relationship of influence with them. We're just not to engage in their lawless practices. We're not to embrace their lawless lifestyles. We're to leave those things behind and don't touch what they do, but we are to engage with them so that we can influence them and so that we can share with them the good news of Yeshua so that they might believe. Abba, we're so thankful for these encouraging words today. We're thankful that not only do you place your Spirit upon us to empower us to be successful at doing the things that you called us to do, but that you, by your Spirit, have actually come to dwell in us, that we have become the new dwelling place of Elohim. And then we read about the dwelling place there in Jerusalem and how your presence was there and your esteem was there. And all of the wonders of you dwelt there in that place. Now you have moved into us and you dwell in us by your Spirit. We're so thankful for that. We ask again today that you would refill us with all the special abilities and powers that you have for us so that we can be successful in going out and sharing the good news of Yeshua in all the world to every creature. We pray today that the gifts of the Spirit would be in operation in our lives. We pray that the fruit of the Spirit would be born in abundance within us. And we give you all the praise for this wonderful understanding that we have, that we are now the new address of Elohim. We are the new dwelling place of Elohim by your Spirit. All these things we pray in the matchless name of your Son and our Master Mashiach, Yeshua. Amen and amen.